Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for another Chelsea transfer news video. If you're still not subscribed to this channel and you want to be updated on all things Chelsea, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications, and if you enjoy yourself today, please do me a favour and smack a like rating on this video. Today we have got a plethora, a bundle of stories to discuss, including one of my favourite Premier League players, Julian Alvarez. Is it possible for Chelsea to prize Alvarez away from Manchester City this summer? We're also going to talk a little bit about Manchester City and about spending rules in the Premier League and how Chelsea, the football club, are sympathising potentially with Manchester City. Loads of stories to go through. Buckle in. We begin. At least 3 clubs have sympathy for Manchester City's position after they declared war on the Premier League over spending rules. Mail Sport understands that Chelsea, Aston Villa and Newcastle all believe the champions have valid concerns ahead of a hearing on Monday. This for me just screams world politics on so many different levels. One time here you've got a club that have probably, most likely, committed so many crimes that whatever way you look at it, they've got a life sentence regardless of which one they're convicted for, or if they're convicted for 115, by that point, the life sentence is 115 of them, and basically you're just going to be gone forever. So that's the way that I think Man City are looking at this here. They're not getting any kind of immediate clarity. They've got this big cloud looming over their head with these 115 charges. And I think at this point, it's like, well, I think we're going to go down. We've seen what happened to Forest. We've seen what happened to Everton. We're going down. We may as well go down with a full-scale war. It's bad. It's absolutely bonkers. And the fact that Chelsea are showing sympathy here, look, my opinion is this. Chelsea may have broken rules. We may find out about it later. And if that is the case, we'll get punished for it. Why is it that Chelsea, Aston Villa and Newcastle have obviously got all of this money available, but they can't spend it? They'd love to. Chelsea have spent loads of it and probably have pending charges to come. Maybe, who knows? We might have done it by the book, but we've also got loads of money that we want to spend. Aston Villa as well probably also have loads of money they want to spend because they see that they're close. Given Emery a 5-year deal, they could be in the conversation. So in terms of this sympathy, there might be something to come from this here where we do see some changes with the spending in the Premier League and the rules and regulations. I firmly expect it would be allowing Manchester City to get away with things. And I think a lot of the issues that football and English football in general is going to be going through right now is that Man City keep on winning the Premier League. They haven't been sanctioned properly yet for all of these charges that they've got. Do we save the face of the sport and let them get away with it because are they a big club? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't even finish that sentence by saying Man City are a big club in the way that they win things, but like people don't even turn up for their trophy parade. So do we really care about Man City? There's layers upon layers upon layers to this. And I certainly think that the spending rules that are there in the Premier League do make it harder. And I think the gulf and the gap between the top clubs and those below them was already too big. So when these spending rules came in, I think there was already too distinct of a gap and too big of a gap between those big clubs and the challengers, the ones that want to be in your Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Arsenal positions, Liverpool. Having sympathy for Man City's position, this might seem just like a bit of a nonsense story at this point, but absolutely don't sleep on this. Let's see where it goes, because look, for whatever reason, I don't believe Man City, despite breaching 115 rules, I don't think they're getting relegated. I don't think they're getting an 80-point deduction. I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think there's twists and turns in this story. Let's wait and see. We move. This is big. This is big. Buckle in. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. This is huge. This is a big one. Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain are interested in Julian Alvarez. Manchester City want him to stay, but he wants more minutes. Look, this is very simple, in my opinion. Pep Guardiola. Alvarez apparently went to Guardiola, begging him to be allowed to go to the Olympics because he wants more football. This guy is a World Cup winner. This guy was actually pivotal in Argentina's run to win that trophy. And since Erling Haaland is Man City's striker, the man that can do no wrong, he has a bad season, wins a golden boot. The man is just a machine. He's on a different planet to everybody else when it comes to scoring goals. When it comes to being an all-round forward, you look at, let's say, Cole Palmer, for instance, a player that was at Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's got his set way of playing. He's got his senior players. And Cole Palmer didn't just become an overnight success by going to Chelsea. He always had the ability. You listen to the way that Phil Foden talks about him. He's always the best in the five. All of these little things, right? And I see that same instance happening with someone like Alvarez. Someone like Alvarez who becomes like the centerpiece at a football club. I think he goes from being obviously a quality player, and he's used at Man City. It's not like he doesn't play. He still does play, but he's got personal ambitions to be out there on the field every single week. And I think the way that Enzo Maresca likes to play, I think also the way that Alvarez can be that poacher in the box, but also does so much work in that final third area. I think he is literally a perfect player for Chelsea. If you think about the dynamic nature of all of the forwards that we've got already, your Palmers, your Nkunkus, even your Mudryk to an extent. I think Mudryk's better in the number 10 than he is on the left wing. That's just my thoughts on him. Nicholas Jackson. I think Alvarez would just be another one of those players, a bit like Michael Olise, where sometimes there are just players that are too good to turn your nose up at. And I know that some of you might not have the same kind of belief and sentiment regarding Alvarez as me, but I just think at Manchester City, he's never going to be the showpiece. He's never going to be because Erling Haaland is there. And he's obviously eager. Who gives up winning a treble, winning however many Premier Leagues in a row? Who gives that up? Like, nobody gives that up. But this guy wants to be playing. This guy knows that even though he's winning all these trophies, he wants to have more. And he wants it to be more about him. And I think that is what Chelsea got when they had Cole Palmer. They got a player that was relieved to not just be a cog and another extra. He wanted to be the showpiece. He saw the opportunity and he took it. And that is how Chelsea go from having a good end to the season, good season, finish 6th in the Premier League. You need to have multiple players like Man City do. You got De Bruyne, Foden, Bernardo Silva, Erling Haaland. All of these players individually can win them games at any different moment. And I think Alvarez has the ability to have a similar effect to that of the City players he's competing against, but also the likes of Cole Palmer. Nkunku, I think next season will have a massive year. And you've got to remember, as much as Chelsea do have a stacked squad, there's no guarantee that Benjamin Sesko, a man that we're going to talk about at the moment, you got Arsenal, who I think probably are going to go on and win the league next year. I think there's going to be issues with City. Based on the story we talked about earlier, I think Arsenal have got a direct run here to give this a third go in a row and actually make it. If I was Sesko, let's be real, I think you probably go to Arsenal. As much as I would never do it because I'm George Benson, I'm a Chelsea fan. I have blue lights on the wall, not red. I think there is a world here where we miss out on Sesko. We also miss out on Osimhen because he's too expensive. And we look at someone like Julian Alvarez. And I'm telling you now, from a personal level, I know I might have lost a lot of you when I started saying how much I love this guy. And if you don't, then fair enough. I think this is the signing for Chelsea. I really do. I think he's that good of a player. He's a winner. And I think it would absolutely work. We move to discuss now Benjamin Sesko taking some more days to decide his future. What a life that is, mate. Summer holidays. And he's got a decision about which big club in Europe he signs for. Must be a good player. There's still new contract proposal from Red Bull Leipzig on the table. Meanwhile, Sesko said no, good stuff, to a €30 million net salary from Saudi. Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea have all approached Sesko since March and April. If you come to Chelsea right now, it's a weird one. Because a lot of people, if you look at the Jose Mourinho comments, when he was asked at the Champions League, what do you think about Chelsea? And he's like, I don't know. I don't recognise them. And then he talks about Spurs being like a bit more, but it's also relevant to the way that Spurs want to be. Spurs just want to get fourth, and then it will be like winning a trophy. Whereas Chelsea should be winning trophies. We're always winning trophies, apart from until now. So I think sometimes you're going to look at it as a player and look at this Chelsea chaos and be like, well, Enzo Fernandez and Mudryk have had 5 managers since they joined in January 2023. And then other players are going to look at it, a bit like what I was saying about Cole Palmer, potentially Alvarez as well. Players like that can look at this mess, in inverted commas, at Chelsea, because it depends which way you look at it, and think, this is where I shine. This is where I join a massive club, make my name heard, score a load of goals, and in this case as a striker, and become the centrepiece and make them a team in chaos to a team that's back where we belong. And I think there's players out there right now in the market where there are players that want to prove a point. There are players that clearly want to make the step up, the next move. And I think Šeško would be one of those kind of players. I don't think he's going to sign a new contract with RB Leipzig when you've got United, Arsenal, Chelsea, 3 massive clubs. Man United need a standout striker, Chelsea need a striker, and Arsenal are competing for Premier Leagues. I think he's 100% making the move this summer. Let's wait and see what the deal is. Chelsea are prepared to ask for a fee in excess of 50 million for Conor Gallagher this summer. After the Mount deal last summer, Chelsea see Gallagher in similar position with Aston Villa, Tottenham and one more club from abroad keen on negotiating and signing him. We spoke about this yesterday. That club is Atletico Madrid as of right now. And I didn't really say this that much yesterday, but why does it happen? How have Chelsea gone from wanting 50 million for Gallagher last summer, and then he has the kind of season that he has, and that price just isn't higher? And if I was Conor Gallagher, part of me really wants to, and as much as this could bite us when it comes to FFP, part of me wants Gallagher to just be like, no, I'm not leaving. I've got a year left in my contract. I'm going to say no to whichever club comes in for me because I love this club, and I'm going to make it so abundantly clear by my performances and my actions that I want to stay here and I deserve a contract. Sell everybody else. I've got a feeling Gallagher's going to want that, to be honest. We're seeing so many things coming out about Conor Gallagher and his desire to stay at Chelsea, his love for Chelsea, and it's potentially going to happen. I think we could see Gallagher remaining a Chelsea player next season. The next story, Chelsea set to sign Brazilian youngster Estevão Willian and are targeting a left-back and a forward, while they could also bring in a new goalkeeper. This comes tweeted from Simon Phillips through Nick Purewall. So Estevão Willian, the deal is basically done, and he'll be joining Chelsea in January next year, January 2025. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, I really hope this isn't another Brazilian left-back and another Brazilian forward, because we had David Washington's birthday yesterday. This bloke's still here and he didn't get a sniff under Maurizio Pochettino. I'm hoping that this is a left-back, a forward, and a new goalkeeper we need. And I think we do need a new keeper. All of the stories about Sanchez being the number one and Maresca wants him, I just don't believe it for 1 second. I don't know how Enzo Maresca can look at Robert Sanchez and the way that he plays with the ball at his feet and think, you're my guy, without even seeing him, without even meeting the geezer. Do you know what I mean? As for a left-back, I think, yes, Ian Maatsen will probably be sold despite not having a good Champions League final for Dortmund. And I also think that there is potential that Cucurella or Chilwell could also be sold. As much as I don't think we should sell either of them at this point. And a forward, we've talked about this no end. Let's see what the transfer window has in store. Please let me know your thoughts on Julian Alvarez in the comments down below. I think this would be unbelievable. He's one of my favourite players. I love watching him. I think he's an unbelievable finisher, brilliant with a dead ball, great movement. And I think the link-up that we would see in the final third. Also, like with Šeško, he's a big target, man. Some of the goals that he scores, he's got an incredible strike of the ball. There is a world where, I don't think there is a world, in fact, where Chelsea can sign 2 players like Šeško and Alvarez. I think it could be one or the other, but I think my overall opinion is that I think Šeško might pick another side, and then Chelsea won't go for Osimhen. So watch this Julian Alvarez one. He wants more minutes. I don't think he's going to get it at City, and I would love for Chelsea to be the solution there. Thoughts in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Come on, you Blues.